How you doing? This is Sam Tolley. I want to make a little short video about the family. God's plan for the family. You know, God made man and He made woman, and that was the nucleus of the family. And between one man and one woman, they would have children and raise them up. That was His original plan. I had a conversation with one of my sons, my younger son, a few days ago. Actually, it was a few years ago, but he reminded me of the conversation a few days ago. And it was a really startling conversation about what happened to him when he was a child. And that conversation made me think about his older brother and the conversation we had when he was a child. And it showed me the importance, or at least it gave me one of the reasons for the importance of the family as God constructed it. Because, you know, today, they'll tell us that two men could be a family. Mother, well, they don't call them mother, they call them spouses or partners or whatever the heck they call them. Or two dads. Or two women. Or a man that thinks he's a woman and a man, or a man that thinks he's a woman and another woman, or a woman that thinks she's a man, whatever. All these weird components man is trying to say could be the nucleus of a family. And it's all against God. For my older son, when he was in middle school, was having problems with some of his work. And I had to get on him. I had to deal with his teachers and I had to discuss things. And then I sat down and I talked to him and I told him what my expectations were. And he said, "Dad, you're trying to make me talk like white people." I said, "What? I'm not trying to make you talk like white people. I'm trying to teach you proper English. I'm trying to teach you how to speak to adults, how to speak to people in the community, how to use the language that's going to help you make money when you grow up. When you get together with your friends, you guys can talk any way you want to. I can't control that because I'm not there. But I expect you to be respectful to adults, your teachers, your family. I expect you to use proper English. I expect you to be able to write proper English. I expect you to be able to navigate your way through society because I'm not going to be taking care of you forever." Now, he sort of resented what I had to say at the time. But this was not a democracy. I was a father. And what I said goes. Along with my wife, we set the parameters. So he learned to obey. As a matter of fact, one of the things we did with our children was we had them get in front of a camera like I am right now and speak. We had them, we gave them the choice. You can talk about anything you want to, but for 5 minutes, you will address the camera and you will talk. Then we would play it back to them and show them how they did. We'd show them a few years later how they did. They developed the ability to communicate eye to eye, to speak rationally and coherently with anyone. And now he's been in business for years, supervising men, negotiating contracts with various companies, working all over the world at different times. He knows how to present himself and how to get the money because he understood, finally, the language that was going to be beneficial to him. And there was one key that I taught all of them. One key that if you're a child or even an adult now could be very beneficial. I said, one of my older relatives told me a long time ago, he said that yes sir and yes ma'am can open doors that yeah and no never will. And those just simple courtesy and the ability to communicate will get you a long way. Now, my younger son, he had a quite different experience, one that I would have never fathomed. Like I said, he reminded me of this a little while back, but a few years ago he told me, you know, I really struggled as a child with peer pressure. I really struggled with trying to conform, because I was being harassed and mocked and whatnot. And I said, why? Because I never knew this as a child. He never told me. He said, many of my friends insulted me because I had two parents. Because I was raised with a mother and a father. When he told me that, I thought it was unbelievable. I was speechless. But God gave me the answer very quickly. I said, son, the reason why they mocked you is because they wanted what you had. They wanted two parents, and they only had one. If they had the parent, they wouldn't live with a grandparent or something. I said, you had no reason to feel bad at all. If anything, if you would have told me that then, I would have explained it to you, and then maybe you could have helped your friends. I mean, it's amazing. Back in 1965, Daniel Moynihan, the past senator, Democrat, he wrote a report called, I believe, the Negro Project. Not the Negro Project, that's Margaret Sanger. It was a report on the Negro family. But at the time of that report, it was estimated that 25% of children were being raised by one parent in the black family. And he was alarmed, and he thought that this was a recipe for disaster. And when that report came out, all hell broke loose. Democrats lambasted him. Republicans lambasted him. Civil rights leaders lambasted him. All kinds of people just lambasted him. Well, here we are at 2021. And now they estimate that between 72 and 75% of black children are being raised with one parent. So Daniel Moynihan was a prophet. And when he spoke prophetically back in 1965, if we would have returned our emphasis to raising a family based on God's criteria, maybe the black family wouldn't be in the shambles it's in right now, and the Hispanic and white and Asian families that are progressing along that direction wouldn't be doing that as well. So it is vitally important that if you haven't created a family yet and you're thinking about doing it, wait till you get married. Get you a husband or get you a wife, depending on if you're a man or a woman. I'm saying one man and one woman, biologically. And then, after you go to school, after you can take care of yourself, then raise a family and be dedicated to that spouse and God's will for that family. And chances are you won't end up in poverty and your children won't end up in a mess. And of course, talk to your children. You wouldn't want your children to end up like my youngest son, being stigmatized for having two parents. That's God's plan. This nonsense about what man is doing is wrong. And any God-fearing Christian should be standing up against it and saying, no, that's an abomination. We will not accept it. We reject it, and we will never say it's okay. So, I just thought I'd share that with you. May God bless you as you do His will. I need to watch my language. And remember, view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. Do not view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world. That way, you'll always know which way to go. This is Sam Tolley, and I'm out.